Dr. Shannon Clark here, and I have been listening to season 23 of the Something Was Wrong podcast. And today's topic is from episode 2, and it's going to be about fetal lie versus presentation and what that means during the course of a pregnancy. Now, for a while during her pregnancy, Kristen knew that the fetus was breech, and at 36 weeks, 4 days, still breech. Around that same time, she felt one night that the fetus had made some big movements and thought that maybe the fetus had flipped into the head first position. So she went into the birth center to see whether or not this was indeed true. A Leopold's maneuver, I'm guessing, manual exam of the abdomen was done by the midwife there, and she was told, yes, your baby is flipped. Baby is now head first. No ultrasound was done. Now, when determining how the fetus is positioned in the uterus, two things are considered: the fetal lie and then the fetal presentation. There are 3 types of fetal lie, and that is determined based on how the fetal spine is in relation to the maternal spine. So it can be longitudinal, meaning the fetal spine goes along the maternal spine. Oblique, maternal spine is going to be up and down, but it's kind of off to an angle, the fetal spine. And then transverse, it's like perpendicular or like a cross. Maternal spine's up and down, fetal spine is side to side. After fetal lie, you next consider fetal presentation. And fetal presentation is what part of the fetal body is presenting first, meaning that part of the body that is closest to the internal opening of the cervix, which needs to dilate for the fetus to pass through for birth. Cephalic presentation is the most common. And once you're in cephalic presentation, there's all different types of positions of the fetal head that can occur. And you have breech. 3 to 4% of term babies are in breech presentation, and breech means butt first. But there can be different types of different positions of breech. That can be a complete breech, a double footling breech, all different types of breech that can occur. Now, the reason why transverse lie is of particular importance is you can have a transverse lie, meaning perpendicular to the maternal spine, with the presenting part being an arm, a leg, umbilical cord. The spine of the fetus can be presenting up or presenting down. So there's all different variations, but if the spine is up and then the cord can prolapse down, or an arm or a leg, that's even more concerning for the birthing process. And it's important to know if that's the case. Now, fetuses can absolutely flip in the uterus from one position to the other. It can go from cephalic to breech to transverse and back again. Everybody's different. But if you know that a fetus has been persistently breech and you think that it's flipped to being head first, you need to confirm. And while some people might be good with the Leopold's maneuvers, it's not that hard to confirm with an ultrasound, just to make sure. Now, the reason why this whole thing was important in Kristen's case is that at 39 weeks and 5 days at 1 a.m., her water broke. And she stayed at home for several hours as instructed and as planned with her midwives. Not only that, she was told at around 8 a.m. to do a mile circuit, which is a series of different exercises to get things moving. Now, she goes into the birth center for other reasons at around 4 p.m. the next day and was told that the baby was transverse breech, which there's no such thing. You can't be transverse and breech. She was told she needed to have a cesarean. But when she asked if a vaginal exam was necessary, they told her no, she was getting a C-section anyway. By the time she got to an ObGyn, she had umbilical cord and arms and or legs prolapsing through her cervix into her vaginal vault. And if there's any question at all what the fetal presentation is during the course of labor, especially in the presence of ruptured membranes, an exam must be done to make sure nothing has prolapsed through that cervix and into the vaginal vault. When you have a prolapsed umbilical cord, that can cause cord compression. And during this whole time, the fetus was not being monitored because most of this was done at home. And we don't know what was happening during any of those hours and how long the umbilical cord was prolapsed into the vaginal vault. In fact, doing all of those exercises, not knowing for sure what the presentation of the baby was, could have contributed to the prolapsing of the umbilical cord and the arms and or legs into the vaginal vault.